So I always like it though when I have someone here in person, because then I have someone to talk to, right? Because on Facebook Live, I'm just looking at my screen. It's not like Zoom where you can interact with people. So this is always good for me. Okay, I've pushed the live button and we are going live. I did not feel like doing my hair today.
It's me every day. But I was like, this is the first time I'm gonna meet her. I better look at least like I.
You look good. Oh, if you're just jumping in on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and chime in. Let me know where you're coming from. We do have an agent here in the office with us today, so I'm super excited to have somebody there. I was just telling her though that after my workout this morning, I was not in the mood to do my hair. So it's a hat day. So if I'm feeling dark and gloomy, get over it. I'm cheerful and happy. I just have a hat on today. You can. So the Resilient Realtor has a Facebook group, a Facebook page. The class is streamed in the Facebook group, and we also stream it on YouTube at the same time. So we've got some people that have jumped on. Make sure you comment in the comment section just so that I know where you're coming from. Maybe even drop your name so that way I know who I am having fun with today. So this class is going to be a little bit different because it's the last class of 2022. And we've covered marketing, we've covered Google business, we've covered listing attraction, we've covered scripting, budgets, business planning. We've done a lot of things this year. And Kathy is joining us. Awesome. Nashville, Tennessee in the house as well. So I wanted to end the year in preparation for thinking about going into 2023. And let's also just acknowledge that this year was weird, right? And I know we say that every year since 2020, but this year was weird in the fact that we started the year at an accelerated rate, right? Interest rates were in the threes, and we got sucker punched in April, and then in May and in June, and then they rose all the way over 7%, right? And now we're back into the sixes. But this year was weird, and we're not out of it yet. So that's what this class is about. I want us to talk about distractions in our business and how to get on track. And so that's going to be the premise of today. And I'm in Meryl's office, so my mouse is backwards, but that's not helpful at all. I don't know why it's doing that. But there's my vision board, everybody. What is up with that? I don't know what it did. Mirror displays, maybe. Let's try that. Let's do that. We'll go, let me remove, share, stop screen, share my slides from your computer. No, I don't want to upload a file. It's going to be a little bit different because I'm not sure what it did. I'm going to go back to screen mirroring. If Kelsey's watching, maybe be ready to intervene and help me. I don't know why it doesn't have my I don't know where my slides went, Kelsey. That's the weird thing, is I don't know where my slides are to drag them over. That's okay. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to pull them over and just restart. Okay. And let me go back to sharing my screen. Holy cow. We're back. Don't know what button I pushed. And that makes me sound really not technical. And I am technical, but there's something, I'm hiding my windows or something. I don't know what I'm doing, and I've done it a couple times. It's driving me nuts. But okay, so couple questions that we're going to start asking ourselves. When I talk about cutting the fat, we're not literally talking about our BMI. Although I've been focused on that this year, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the extra things in our business and perhaps even in our lives that are holding us back or distracting us from our true potential. So some of the things that I see oftentimes that happen in an agent's business is they're always like, oh, I found this new lead source. And this is probably one of the biggest ones. They find something shiny and new that's going to solve all of their problems, and it doesn't. It's just a distraction. Some of these things are really expensive, and some of them are not so expensive, but it always ends up the same. It's a distraction, and something comes up. A lot of times I see on the fly social media, meaning people are just doing social media every single day instead of like scheduling it out and, doing it on purpose. They're doing it on the fly. A lot of times I see agents spending so much time in Canva creating their own marketing materials. And I get it. You guys are creative and you know what you want. And I'll also tell you that it's keeping you from reaching your true potential. Transaction management, if you're doing more than one deal a month, you should definitely be hiring that out. Not following a schedule, being super reactive all over the place. That's another thing I see a lot of agents doing. And then this one is not one that people talk about a lot, but overcommitting and overscheduling. So oftentimes on coaching calls, someone will tell me everything they want to get done in a week. And then when we map it out, it's more hours than they have in the week. When you factor in that you probably have a family, you probably have a personal life, social life, all of those things. So, that's really pushing a button. Let's make sure. Come on. Okay. So that's really the premise of this class is, where does my money go? Right? We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself so that you can get on top of your money and cut the fat when it comes to extra expenses. We're going to talk about time. Where does my time go? And cut the fat on time sucking energy vampires, time wasting activities, and then helping you identify your HBUT. Oh, I did it backwards. HUBD. I should have fixed that. I didn't see it. HBUT, your highest and best use of time. So those are going to be the three things that we are really going to focus on today. So let's start with money. Where does the money go? So many times agents don't even have a clue of how much they're actually spending on their business. And one thing that I know, and let me know in the comment chat if this has ever happened to you, but I've noticed in real estate that you can like $10, $15, $25 subscription yourself into a really hefty credit card statement because you've got all these little technology gadgets and things that are supposed to make your life easier. And then what ends up happening is you don't even use them, you forget them. Or go into your phone into, like, I don't know what it looks like on an Android, but if I go into my, into my settings and I go into my subscriptions, how many subscriptions do I have that I'm not using, right? So the easiest thing I would say is in your calendar, and when I say in your calendar, I legitimately mean set a date, put it in your calendar. You really need to make sure that you're looking at your bank statement or your credit card statement. And if we were even to back up just a little bit, guys, if you came to my class, Don't Be a Broke Agent, I'll post the link here in a minute because it's on the YouTube channel. We specifically talk about this, but like if you're not looking at this, months could go by. I've got a client that she's been trying to use a CRM, but she just really doesn't want to use a CRM. And finally I was like, you need to let it go of it. Like, why are you paying $90 a month just to have all this guilt and you're not using it? So you need to be looking at your credit card statement. You need to be looking at your bank statement, and you need to be doing that every single month. Taking a step back, if you don't have a credit card strategy, like if you're using a credit card, right? I'm not about having debt, but I pay for a lot of things for my business. So I have a credit card strategy to get points. Mm-hmm. My daughter is turning 21 in 2 days. She's not watching this. She's turning 21 in 2 days, and we're taking her to New Orleans. I was able to book that entire trip with credit card points, paid for the Airbnb, paid for all of our flights. And so that's, I have myself set up with a business account, a business credit card, right? A PLLC. Don't ask me why it's a PLLC and not an LLC. My accountant can tell you why. right? But guys, if you haven't taken the time to separate your business expenses from your personal expenses, please, please, please put that on the agenda for quarter 1. It can dramatically help you with taxes, but it's also going to simplify your life. And from experience running our business out of our personal account and running our Zillow bill back before we were Flex off of our debit cards, right? Like, you do not want to do that. Learn from Christine Merrill's mistakes. Go get yourself a business account set up and start separating your expenses. That makes it super easy. I recommend QuickBooks because we just sync our credit cards and our business account with QuickBooks, and it's really, really easy to see income and what we're spending money on, and it's super, super simple. So that's like one of the first things is you have to figure out where your money goes. I don't know if she's on this call, and I won't name names, but I had a client that this year I am so immensely proud of her because she made a crap ton of money and she had no idea where it went. Like, she literally came to me, she's like, I know this says that I made $300,000, but I don't know where $300,000 went. Mm-hmm. And so we had a theme all year. She wasn't just gonna swipe the card because that's the life she was living. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun life. It was a good life. But at the end of the year, she didn't know where $300,000 went, right? So where does our money go? It's probably leaking all over the place. So get yourself in your calendar. I promise you. In fact, if you have time today, go in and look at your credit card statement, go in and look at your bank your statement and cancel something. Like, just cancel it. Save yourself the $30, the $10, the $15, cancel. So staying aware of your expenses will force you to see where your money is leaking and where you might be spending, like, it just is, you don't need it. You know what I mean? Unnecessary subscriptions can legitimately be costing you hundreds of dollars a month. So that's the number one rule of cutting the fat. Know where your money goes. And so a couple questions that you can ask yourself when you're looking at your credit card statement, when you're looking at your bill, ask yourself, what lead source is this connected to? Right? So if you're spending money on homes.com or you're spending money on HomeSnap, I had this conversation with a client this week that, she runs these HomeSnap ads. So I said, okay, so how much revenue, right? How much income can you tie to that expense? And it was 0, right? I was like, okay, so is it creating an ROI? No. So what should we do? Cut it, right? Like, if you can't tie an ROI to that expense, you probably don't need it. Now, there's different expenses. There's technology expenses. Obviously, there's, tools that we use that enhance our business and productivity. But when you're spending money on anything that in your geographic farm, on your past clients in your sphere, or if you're buying leads online, right? If you cannot tie money back to it, you better just get rid of it. So many people, this one's really sad. I had a client come into my coaching schedule, and they were purchasing Zillow leads for their team, which was really cool. Obviously, that's awesome to provide leads to your team. The only problem was the team wasn't converting them. So I forced this person to run the numbers, and we actually found that they had lost for the year, I want to say it was like $2,000. So even though they had sold some Zillow homes, the money they had spent versus the money they retained after paying Zillow and paying the split to the agent, they were underwater, right? And this made it easier for us to have a discussion with the agents on the team about conversion and all of that kind of stuff. But they had no idea. They just thought that, oh yeah, we've got Zillow and it's bringing money in. And so I guarantee you that this person in 2023 is going to run their business differently because they want a profitable business. And who doesn't, right? Also, look at the technology that you're using. Is there a better solution that's less expensive? Is there a better subscription, right? So for instance, my little email signature thing, I just pay for that for the year because I get like 60% off, right? So look at what the options are if you pay 3 months at a time versus month to month, and what you can afford, of course. But I would look at, is there a better solution? I'd also look at redundant things that you have in your business. Sometimes, you just have multiple subscriptions that kind of do the same thing. So I would look to streamline your technology and find a better solution. Look at the billing options. If you had a great year, there's 15 days left in the year. One thing that you can do is look to prepay next year subscriptions, right? So if you need more tax write-offs this year, look at what you can pay for, in full next year, as long as assuming you're using it. And then here's a hard rule. A lot of people don't like this rule, but if you've not used the service or the technology in the past 30 days, cut it, right? Just get rid of it. You're clearly not using it. And as much as you want to use it, you're not using it. So get rid of it. If that seems like too crazy, then give yourself a hard deadline. If I don't use it in the next 7 days, I have to cut it, right? Chances are, and I've seen this often, that when you cut it, you don't even feel the loss because you weren't even using it. So that's all about the money. If you want to do one of my classes, you can go to YouTube on the Resilient Realtor channel. The class is called Don't Be a Broke Agent. And we talk about the 5 areas of finance and how to set yourself up to be in a better position in 2023 to be more profitable. It's not always fun to talk about money. It's fun to make money. But the problem is if we don't talk about money, then we could find ourselves in a position where we're not profitable, right? And that's really, really important to me. Okay, so let's shift from money to time, right? Oftentimes when I meet with agents, they're not even sure where to start. They don't know what to let go of. So the first place that I would always recommend, and this is kind of let you know, am I ready for an assistant? Am I doing things that I shouldn't be doing? Is to start by making a list of everything you do in a week, right? So these are some of the examples that I see people doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. Spending hours a week creating marketing materials, right? Now, if you truly don't have marketing support and you have to do this, again, you need to figure out a way to do this outside of your prospecting and your follow-up. So that means, like, if I have to create marketing materials, I'm going to carve out a 2-3 hour block to create a month's worth of marketing. And I'm not going to create marketing every single day instead of making my calls, right? This one will actually cost you a ton of money. I see a lot of people trying to manage their own Google ads. Now, if this is your thing and you're super good at it, awesome, right? I don't cut my own hair for a reason. It will not turn out well, right? I once tried to get little buzzers, and because I have so many boys, I was like, I'm just going to cut all my boys' hair and save all this money. It just ended up costing me more money because I bought the shavers and then I had to go get their hair fixed, and we were all miserable because we ended up just having to buzz all their hair off. So this is kind of the same thing. You could be costing yourself a lot of money trying to run your own Google ads if it's not your expertise. So this would be better off hired out, because it's a full-time job to manage true Google pay-per-click ads, where you are looking at the ads that are working, the ads that are not working, changing, moving your budget around. There's just so many parts and pieces that you could spend 3 hours a day on that. Probably not the highest and best use of your time. You should be making calls, going on appointments. Editing videos. This is another one. Actually, coach a really awesome agent in Austin, Texas, that kills it on YouTube. Even he doesn't edit all of his own videos, and he's very, very picky about it because he knows that it's not the highest and best use of his time, right? So that's a strategy you need to figure out. I can't believe there are still people that do this, but dropping off your own lock boxes, picking up your own lock boxes, installing signs, uninstalling signs, bless you, all of those things, right? Like, that is not the highest and best use of your time. It's definitely something you should be, hiring out. I already mentioned transaction management. And then, are you a person that says yes to everything and everyone? Therefore, leaving no time to get your business done. So the list goes on and on. The best place to start is to start tracking everything that you're doing in an average week. And you could do this for both like personal and business. You'll be really surprised at some of the things that are going to be on here. So H-But, right? We need to prioritize our progress. As busy agents, and I'm a mom as well, team leader, and I've got a ton on my plate, right? Oftentimes it's hard to know what I should be working on. James Clear had a really great quote. No, it wasn't James Clear. It's from the book Traction. And the quote goes something like, rarely is it the wrong decision that causes so much pain in your business. It's indecision, right? And working on the wrong thing. And so it's better to figure out how to prioritize your time. So here's a question that you should ask yourself. When you are sitting down doing a task, ask yourself, is this the highest and best use of my time? If the answer is yes, then keep going. If the answer is no, figure out a solution to delegate it. Now, you might not be able to do it in that moment, right? Like you might not be able to afford an assistant. You might not be able to, do that right in that moment. So figure out how in the future to take that off your plate. But recognizing that this isn't the highest and best use of my time, moving forward, I can find better solutions. And that's an important piece. So what is my H-But? What is my highest and best use of time? Setting appointments, absolutely. Highest and best use of your time. Originally, when I was designing this slide, I was going to like trick you and throw things in here, but then I ended up just putting all good things in here. So originally it was going to be an interactive quiz, but now we're just going to go through the list. So setting appointments and going on appointments, that is always going to be the highest and best use of your time. Role playing, absolutely. This is a skills-based market. This is a relationship-based market. So role playing is going to be a priority and is a highest and best use of your time. Working in your CRM. The reason I put working in your CRM is making calls out of your CRM, updating your CRM, like keeping your leads and your records updated is a highest and best use of your time because that's how you manage your pipeline. So think about working in my CRM is managing my pipeline, right? Tracking your numbers is also highest and best use of your time. Understanding. So understandably, like right now in my coaching sessions, a lot of coaching revolves around how many closings are we going to do, and how many appointments do we need to set, and how many people do we not need to talk to, and what's my conversion. And 50% or more of the agents out there have no idea how many people they need to talk to get to a sale. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you unlock that number, when you understand, for me, when I first got into real estate, my first year, it was 100, right? Like every 100 people I spoke to, I got something under contract, which was awesome because then every no got me closer to that yes. At this point in my career, working by referral, it's more like 40. I know that every 40 people I talk to, I'm gonna get a new contract. And so understanding the numbers helps you also figure out and plan your day. Now, networking, that's, goes along the same vein of setting appointments, going on appointments. Creating content in 2022 and beyond, 2023, content is definitely a part of our strategy. I'm not saying that you need to, create viral reels and TikToks every single day, but when people Google you, they better be able to get a sense of who you are, what it's going to be like to work with you, maybe something about your personality, something that's like, they're my people, I like them, we're going to jive, right? And that's part of content. People Google, right? Like that's what we do. I go, as soon as I hear a name, I go find them on social media and I look them up and I want to know, who am I dealing with? So creating content is going to help you narrate the story, right? You will create that first impression by the content. And that's why it's a highest and best use of your time. But don't get twisted. You still have to prospect. We talked about that on the last class, on the social media class that I did. Like it is prospecting based, marketing enhanced. And then of course, closings, obviously highest and best use of your time. So strive to be 70%, guys. If you can stay in the highest and best use of your time 70% of the time, you're going to hit your goals, right? When it gets off balance, that's when you should be slightly concerned, because now you know that you're doing dollar producing activities that are below what your value is. So if you want accountability around this, screenshot your schedule and send it to me, because I will be able to tell you how successful you're going to be just by looking at your calendar. So as I say, show me your schedule and I will show you your bank account, because success leaves clues. And when I look at people's calendars, I can tell if they're spending time in their highest and best use, or if they're doing menial tasks that are not going to give them the payout that they're looking for. If you guys have any questions about highest and best use, put it in the chat. I'm happy, to chime in on that. So, but I think it's also helpful for us to realize that what takes us out of that, right? What's distractions, and distractions are all around us. So why do we get distracted? Well, if you want to understand what a distraction is an interruption to meaningful action, right? So much of real estate is reactive, right? We get a call. My phone, Zillow's calling me, realtor.com's calling me, Google's calling me. And it's like, oh, hold on, let me get this, right? And that's a distraction. So real estate, really, in essence, is built on distractions. So if we know that we're going into a highly distractible, I don't even know if that's a word, an environment with lots of distractions. There we go. If we're going into an environment with lots of distractions, we better arm ourselves. So there are two types of distractions, or two categories, I should say. There's external distractions, which are my husband in the hall out here being super loud. That's a distraction, right? It's pings, dings, rings. It's basically outside environment. Upcoming CE class. I thought I put my computer on do not disturb. See, there was a distraction. And now my computer is on do not disturb. But there was a distraction there. So it's the pings, it's the dings, all of that kind of stuff. Outside environment, right? Now this is super interesting. I'm not done reading the book Indistractable, but coming from the book Indistractable, 80% of the people surveyed said that their biggest distraction was other people. Which is, I'm not surprised. I'm so not surprised that it's other people. You know what I mean? Like, let's face it. So that being said, you need to have a strategy when you're at the office, right? When I worked in a bullpen environment, right, where all of us were kind of in the same environment, when I started coaching, I really had to move into a private office so that one, I wanted my clients to have privacy, but two, I couldn't be distracted by everything that was going on. And I didn't want my coaching clients to be distracted by everything that was going on. So I moved into a private office. But before I was in a private office, I had a little, you've probably seen them at like the 99-cent store. It was a little photo holder that inside the photo holder. So it was just like a little thing I set on my desk. I put a, green go and a red stop. So my strategy when I was at the office is, if I needed to make my calls, if I needed to do something and I couldn't have someone coming up and talking to me, I would put up my little like green and red sign so people knew if I was available or unavailable. And I've seen some really cool signs that people made that were like, I actually have to make money. Please don't talk to me. It was just like some funny things. But you need to have an office strategy. So when you go into the office, how can you make sure that you're going to be, productive? Same thing at home. So during COVID, and when the kids were homeschooled, first of all, if you know me at all, that was a nightmare. I was not made to homeschool 8 children, plus my nieces and nephews, and coach, right? And my husband's also working from home. But we created a lot of different things to remove distractions. But what if it's not, homeschooling? How many of you are working from home and you get distracted by the laundry? You get distracted by the dishes. You get distracted by cleaning up and picking up after kids. I mean, I could easily go into a room and then spend 20 minutes in there just tidying it up when all I meant to do was to go put something away. So you need to have an at-home strategy for distractions, and you need to have an office strategy for distractions. Now, outside of external distractions, we have internal distractions. Internal distractions really come from seeking to escape uncomfortable emotional states. So this one is actually pretty easy to pinpoint because it's like, I give the example, you're feeling anxious about making cold calls. So your internal trigger recognizes, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I don't really want to do this. Better check my email. Better go look at my social media and make sure, like, you'll find a million reasons not to do something that makes you uncomfortable, right? So when this happens, you need to, one, identify the discomfort you're trying to escape. Why am I uncomfortable making cold calls? Is it because I don't know what to say? Is it because I fear rejection? Is it because I don't want to do it? I mean, there could be a million different reasons, but when we label what it is, it reduces the fear, but then we can come up with a strategy, right? If it's truly that I don't know what to say, well, then I can work on my script so that I can feel more confident, right? Then you come up with a plan, right? Once you identify where the discomfort's coming from, come up for a plan. And then I am all of the philosophy from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, like, just focus on getting 1% better. One of my favorite quotes, and this might be my quote for 2023 because I love it so much and I've been saying it a lot lately. He says, you cannot improve a habit that doesn't exist. So if you need to make cold calls and your internal triggers go off every single time, so you do the avoidance type of activities because you're avoiding what you need to do. And by the way, we're all guilty of this. If you're not nodding at home or in the office or in your car, wherever you're watching this, you should be, because we all have avoidance tendencies. So what can I do to just get 1% better, right? So for some of my clients, one of the things that we'll do is I'll say, just make calls for 10 minutes, right? And after 10 minutes, you can totally be done. And most of the time we can get 10 minutes in, right? There's no reason you can't get 10 minutes in. You can get 10 minutes in. Oftentimes they'll go longer than 10 minutes, but if they truly are in a place where they can't go longer 10 minutes, at least they went 10 minutes. We do that for several weeks. And if they're consistently hitting their 10-minute benchmarks, then we move it to 15 minutes, to 20 minutes. And before you know it, they're able to make 30 minutes of calls to an hour of calls consistently, because now it's a habit. And so that's where that 1% gets better. If it just make one call, right? You can make one call. Right? It's kind of like working out this morning. I really didn't want to work out. I had stressful dreams all night, so I didn't sleep super well. And then I was like, oh, I'm tired and it's cold and it's Friday and I've worked out all week and I didn't want to do it. But I was like, oh, I'll just get up, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up, get out of bed. I totally don't regret working out this morning. Like, it was awesome. I'm so glad that I did. It was very hard. It was lots of running. But I'm glad that I did it. Same thing goes a lot of times with the uncomfortable feelings of those emotional states. Oftentimes, once you start making calls, it becomes easier to stay making calls, and it improves over time. So that being said, here are some strategies that you can start using today to help you avoid being distracted, right? So one, use technology to block out, distracting things. Use technology to block out distracting technology, right? So on my computer during the day, I toggle off, and you can't see it because I'm broadcasting my screen, but on my computer, I turn off my notifications, right? So at some point during this class, I don't know why my notifications got turned off, but you saw a text message pop up, right? That's super distracting, and it would be inappropriate for me to stop and read text messages right now. But we do that to ourselves all the time, right? So I utilize the do not disturb on my phone, and I utilize the do not disturb on my computer when I need to be focused and intentional, like teaching a class, right? Those are some things. So if there's technology that can help you, do that. The other thing is like this watch, right? I remember the first time I got a smartwatch, and I was like so excited because I could get my text messages on my watch. All of that is blocked. I turned it all off. The last thing I need is for my wrist to be vibrating because I'm getting a phone call, because I'm getting a text message, because someone liked my video on Instagram, right? Like, because my watch is capable of all these notifications. Turn that stuff off, guys. Like, that's distracting you. So now all my watch does is tell me the time and then track my biometrics, which is what I want it to do, right? I thought that I wanted it to give me my phone calls and to give me my text messages, but that was actually hindering me a lot and pulling me out of meaningful conversations with other people and pulling me out of the work that I was supposed to be doing. So turn off the notifications on your phone. In fact, I have most of my notifications. I go into my settings and into my notifications. I'm still not 100% done with this because I had to do a factory reset as new on my phone because I was having a lot of issues. So I'm still trying to get my phone back to where it is. And I've noticed that since I've had this phone for a week and I don't have all my notifications turned off, it's very distracting, right? I promise you, you'll be fine if you don't know every single time someone likes your video. Like, it's gonna be okay, right? So the most important thing to me is text messages, right? Are my emails, but even then I don't have notifications for my emails on my phone because when I'm supposed to be doing emails, I'm on my computer, right? And you don't need to be in your email all day. We could do a whole class on this. I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox. So self-control app it's a free app if you have a Mac that will actually, you can tell it like, don't let me go on Instagram between this time and this time. Don't let me go on Facebook between this time and this time. So if you have certain websites that that you find are distracting, then you can absolutely like block yourself out. Shannon says, I turned off my notifications on my phone. It limits my time on social media a ton already. That's awesome, right? I use screen time too, Shannon, because you have an Apple as well. I use screen time not just for my kids who have no self-control. I sometimes don't have self-control, and screen time is also a really cool one. It even prompts me. So I've put the settings like, hey, you're going to bed soon, right? So it knows that I'm really trying to get 7 hours of sleep. I was only getting about 6 hours and 15 minutes. Now I'm getting about 6 hours and 58 minutes. And my health coach really, really wants me to get over 7. And so I've set up a notification on my phone that, I stop getting text messages, I stop getting emails. It switches colors to say, hey, it's time to get ready for bed. So one app that's kind of cool, I don't personally use it, but I find it intriguing, is called the Forest app. And I want to say it's like $3.99. There are free versions similar to it, but basically you plant a tree on your phone, and every time you pick up your phone, right, you disturb the tree and you kill it. So by staying focused and by having focused time, you plant these trees, and it's this really great visual representation, and it tracks your focus hours and different things like that. So it's kind of a cool app. There's also a website called focusmate.com, which is a pretty cool theory. I haven't used it, but I think it's interesting that you can find an accountability partner to stay focused, and it's completely virtual. So most importantly, guys, though, if you want to eliminate distractions, manage your schedule, time block, right? I have a whole class and series on time blocking, but the big three that I always come back to: figure out how to do days by design so that you're not, I've mentioned this before. I always schedule my groomer at the same day, at the same time, right? So it's always going to be on a Monday in the afternoon. It's very predictable. Dentist appointments Monday in the afternoon, all my personal appointments, so my facials, my eyelashes, all of that stuff is Wednesday afternoons. And by doing that, my days become more predictable and my schedule becomes more predictable. So I know when I'm able to go on appointments, and I know when I have time to work and when I I'm going to be busy. So days by design, buffer blocks. Buffer blocks are super, super important. So one of the reasons we get distracted is because we are in a reactive business. So for instance, maybe I'm supposed to be making my calls, but I'm also waiting for a response from an agent or a title company or something like that. So I've got this anxiousness behind me of, I haven't been in my email. And so while I'm making my calls, I'm kind of distracted. So I like to use these buffer blocks. Anytime I'm going to go into a call session to help eliminate my avoidance tendencies, I will have a 30-minute buffer block where I clear out my email, I clear out my text messages, I clear out any other messages. So I can go into my call session completely focused, knowing I'm 100% up to speed on anything that's urgent. And I promise you that the world's not going to fall apart in the hour that you're making calls. So my call sessions are always buffered by an email phone checking session, and then a call session, and then an email phone checking session. And I find that it eliminates a lot of the stress internally that I have from unread emails, right? I probably need to talk to a therapist about why I have stress about unread emails and unread messages. But those buffer blocks really help you stay true and being focused, because you know in 30 minutes, I'm going to be able to check my email, right? Buffer blocks also give you the ability in case something changes in your schedule, right? I am not the kind of person that schedules every single minute of the day. I have buffer blocks to help me fill the gap and the void that I need. And I run a very, very tight schedule. Like my, people laugh at me sometimes because I just get up and I'm like, hey, got to go on to my next meeting. And I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that it's meeting after meeting after meeting. And I mainly do that so that I can really be home at night and be with my family and not have to bring a ton of work home. I still have to bring work home from time to time, but not all the time. So let me go back to, where's my mouse? There we go. Okay, so the most underrated hack though, guys, seriously, it's just being able to say no. Like, oh my gosh, I got a text message yesterday from somebody that I really, really like, and they asked me to do a speaking engagement, and I really wanted to do it. Like, it would be, 5,000 people. It's an online class. It would be, it's a great honor to do it. But I said no. And the reason that I said no is because I'm completely booked. It was for Tuesday. They wanted me to do it for Tuesday. So first of all, my stress levels would go through the roof because, to prepare a presentation on a subject that I am not, like, they asked me, the subject was already set. The speaker that they had in place couldn't make it, had something come up. So I would be basically creating from scratch an entire presentation, large audience, it's a dream, but it's just not in alignment with what I have planned before Christmas, right? My coaching schedule is completely full, and, I still got all these different things. So when I say, like, from a personal experience, I am a people pleaser, and I definitely love to help and do all those things. Learning to say no actually reduces my stress and helps me stay in alignment with my goals, right? So I always say, like, that's just an underrated hack. Like, figure out how to say no. Yesterday on a coaching call, I was teaching someone how to say no without saying no. And one of the favorite scripts, I got it from Chris Voss out of his book, Never Split the Difference, is, I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me, right? Like, I want to help you. That just doesn't work for me. So anyways, learn how to say no, and you will be amazed at how much time you save and how much better it makes you feel. Now, Kelsey and I have created some really amazing resources to help you stay on track during the day. We even have a class on this, so you can check it out on the Resilient Realtor group. But if you're looking for some sort of a planner or something like that, definitely reach out. We're launching our Etsy store with all of the products that we create so that you guys can have access to them, customize them, and make them your own. So what do I know? How do I know what to let go of? How much do I let go of? And this has been huge for me. A lot of you guys who, some of you guys don't know me very well. Some of you guys have known me for a long time, like Shannon, and she knows a lot about my story. But as Meryl and I went from 0 kids to 3 kids overnight. And then our family exploded as we found out that our kids had siblings, and they all came to live with us. And before you knew it, we have 8 kids. And I had to figure out things really, really quickly because we were like outnumbered from the first night. Not only were we brand new parents, but I had a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and I had, only myself and Meryl. So learning to delegate, I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that have really helped me, because I've always been a working mom. I love working, and that's something that I wanted to show my kids, just based on where they came from, that you can be healthy and work and provide for your family and have family life as well. So I'm going to show you some of the technology that I use and how I try to leverage as much as possible through automation, and through amazing people, right? Like I have people that help me make my life go round. And then I'm able to do things that I love, like be here teaching a class and coaching agents so that they can reach their goals. So some of the things that you want to start asking yourself is, does this have to be done by me, or can it be done by somebody else? Right? So transaction coordination is this is one that I find that agents just hold on to. They think nobody else can do it better than them, and they just can't fathom the idea of someone else pushing all their paperwork. As a high expressive personality, I will tell you that you do not need to be pushing paperwork. Let someone else do it, right? You can do a virtual assistant, you can hire an assistant, you can do lots of different things. But even things like putting your IKEA bookshelf together, right? You can go to Tackle or TaskRabbit. Those are apps that people will do that for you. House cleaning. This is something that will work harder so that I don't have to do it. It's totally worth it to pay somebody to do that for me. And here's my personal experience with that. When I would work hard all week long, and then I would clean my house every night and every weekend, and finally I just turned into a horrible person. It was like, if the kids even breathed, like I was just so angry because they were making the house a mess and I had no free time. You know what I mean? Finally I was like, how much money do I need to make to have somebody that helps me with my house? And it is the best blessing, right? I still make my kids do chores. They do dishes, they clean their rooms and things, but there's somebody at my house right now that is doing laundry and is cleaning up, because kids are horrible cleaners, by the way. She's there and she's helping me. And what that means to me is that tonight when I come home, I will be able to make dinner and enjoy my family more, instead of just being angry at everybody all the time. And maybe you're not that kind of person. Maybe you don't get angry. I get angry. I just get angry. So, but even help with the children, right? I realized that mentally I wasn't happy trying to be a stay-at-home mom. That wasn't where I was found my joy and my fulfillment. And I liked helping and working outside of the home. And so having solid people that can help me with my family and with my house has made a difference in my happiness. And then, of course, because I'm happier, I'm happier to be around, if that makes sense. I wasn't a great mom when I was trying to do it all by myself, is what I'm saying. So a couple of the other things that I'll say is, man, we adopted a family. I'm trying to teach my kids that they're spoiled brats. They have no idea what it's like to be in the real world. And we came across this family that's really struggling, and the mom is pregnant and on bed rest. And so they've lost half their income. It was really cool because we took our kids to Walmart last night and we had our list of all of their kids and some of the things they needed and some of the things they want. And I bring this up because I have not been shopping in a grocery store in so long, because I do everything online. It took so much time just even checking out. Apparently you have to check out your own groceries now. Like, what's up with that? You have to check out your own groceries. I probably 4 years ago switched to online grocery ordering, and it saves me probably 4+ hours a week. And now they even deliver it to my home. So when I first started, I would just place my order and then go to the store and they'd load it in my car, and it was saving me significant time. Now I don't even have to go to the store and they just deliver it to my house. It is a complete game changer. And it also helps my budget significantly, because as I'm putting things into my cart, I see how much money I'm spending and I make decisions differently. Also, you can create lists online, so it knows that I need 6 gallons of milk and 4 loaves of bread and 60 eggs every single week, because I'm feeding an army. And so I don't have to think about it. It's just super, super simple. So I also do Amazon subscription. That's one of the really busy, lifetime savers. So like the kids' deodorant, my deodorants, facial things, feminine products, shavers. even household items. Like I have my laundry soap, my toilet paper, my paper towels. So pretty much all of my household goods are on a subscription through Amazon. You save money. I probably could find it cheaper somewhere else. I'm not going to lie. I haven't done the math on that, but I don't have to think about it. The fact that the stupid hamster has food every single month and I don't have to think about it is huge for me, right? So here's a bunch. One of my other favorites, though, guys, is I really, really, really love Zapier and IFTTT. Those are two tech apps that connect apps to other apps. So we use Zapier to like send emails automatically. We use IFTTT to create other automations. They're just really cool things. Lastly, on this page, Snooze by Gmail and Canned Emails by Gmail. Those two Gmail components, which are free, by the way, are a complete game changer. So I have probably like 25 different emails that are called canned emails. They're template emails that with the click of a button, I can fill an email and then maybe just tweak a couple things here and there. Snooze, I use that feature every single day. So like right now I have 8 unread emails in my inbox. When I go in there, if there was something that I needed to deal with but don't have time, I snooze it and I can say, come back to me, 4:00 tonight, come back to me tomorrow. And it will take that email out of my inbox and deliver it back to me in the time that I want it delivered back to me, which is great because I am an inbox zero type person. I get to inbox zero every single day. And in order to do that, I use the snooze so that my emails come back to me when I can deal with them. So those are two of my favorite features. Okay, so here's an actual like breakdown. Our average sales price is about $465,000. So the average commission check is around $10,000, and that's because in the Valley we're seeing a dip. Here in the Phoenix metro area, we're seeing a dip in the average commission. So it's like a 2.31 average on the buy side. But let's say that I get a $10,000 check. Okay. I need to manage my past clients and my sphere. So I hire my daughter or I hire my best friend's kid to manage my database for me. By the way, this is one of the first things that I did as an agent so that I could make more calls and go on more appointments because I knew the importance of managing a database, but it's also very time consuming. So hired somebody, right? They basically every single month prepare all of my cards for me, giving me the cards. And I just fill in the message on the inside, but they come to me stamped and labeled and ready to go every single month. Also managing my pop buys, managing my database and updating like when I close a client and putting the right dates in there, getting it into my calendar. I even get an email. This is so cool. They even send me an email that says, today is so-and-so's birthday. Here's their phone number. Give them a text message, right? But let's say I hire somebody to do this, pay them $200 a month because, again, they're a kid, right? That's $2,400 a year, but my average commission check technically is $9,817.15. I just rounded it up to $10,000. It's completely paid for, right? Or you could be spending those hours, right, doing all of that yourself. So I have to ask you, is it worth it, right? Is $2,400 a month worth it to free up potentially three, it's probably monthly is probably around 4 to 5 hours monthly to be able to earn an additional 10,000 and 10,000, 10,000. I could give you lots of examples like this of how it absolutely is worth it, right? So some of the things that you should consider, hiring out or leveraging, I would say social media marketing, filming your reels and TikToks. I wouldn't say so much filming, although I do have someone that comes in and does all of that for me. I do film some of my stuff just like selfie style. It's also not a passion of mine to like video edit. Some people I know, they love it, and that's not me. I'm just like down and dirty, let's get it done. But open house setup and takedown, transaction management, email marketing, copywriting for sure. We've used Jasper AI. That's a pretty cool product. And it does a great job because I don't like writing. like that. And it'll do blog posts. It'll even do your Instagram description. It's a pretty cool product. You can also look at freelancers on Fiverr or Upwork. There's a lot of opportunity out there. So you'll get that list though from the very beginning of the class when I said, go through and make a list of all of the things that you do in a week so we can start to identify what's not the highest and best use of your time. So how do you cut the fat, right? You got to know where your money goes and make sure we're not having money leaks, right? Because if you don't manage your money, it will just disappear. Then you need to figure out where is your time going. And once you figure out where you're spending all of your time, then you can figure out what's your, I got to fix this slide. What is your highest and best use of time? And then strive to stay 70% in that area because that's where profitability lies, right? So as you guys know, my favorite quote and the quote I've been ending class with all year long is from Jim Rohn. And he says, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And when you look at your life like this, you'll really start to figure out and prioritize, what do I need to do, right? Like if I really want to take this trip, I'm going to figure out a way to make the money. I'm going to figure out a babysitter. I'm going to figure out, right? Like if I really want to sell X amount of homes, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do whatever it takes. This year coming up is going to be full of excuses. We're not out of the recession. Interest rates are still volatile. They may go up a little bit more. The inflation rate is looking good, but we're not out of the woods, right? And here in the Phoenix area, our sales are down significantly, right? Significantly. So what that means is you have lots of excuses this year to underperform. I don't think that's you, though. I don't think that's the kind of life you want to live. So you've got to be committed and you've got to figure out a way, right? And don't overcommit yourself. Like I said, learn the art of no. It's better to set one goal and achieve it than to set 5 and not achieve any of them because you're not focused. So that's it. If you guys could do me a massive favor, I'm really focused on building my Google business profile for my coaching. So you can find me at Christy Jenks, real estate agent and coach on Google. You can drop me a review. I would absolutely love that. If I've helped your business, if we've given you any value, please take a moment and go ahead and do that for us. And on top of that, thanks to Kelsey for preparing a resource page. So at christyjenks.com, you'll be able to find the slides for this class. And if you know anybody looking to join a team here in the Phoenix metro area, we are hiring. You can learn more about us at joinbighelper.com. I appreciate you guys being here today. Here's the QR code for the resources for the classes. And if there's anything I could do for you guys, please let me know. DM me on either Facebook or Instagram, or just shoot me a text message or an email. I'd love to know the kind of content that you guys are looking for in Q1, because I'm going to start preparing. I've already got the class schedule, and Kelsey and I will be getting that out soon. But if you guys have any specific requests, let me know so I can put it into the content calendar for Q1. This is the final class of the year. Thank you guys for spending, time with me each month. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking to grow this community and to continue to give back to you guys and help you guys reach your goals. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thanks so much for joining.